I'd been living there less than a week. The moving boxes were still stacked in the garage. My mattress sat on the floor like a camping setup, and I hadn't figured out the trash pickup schedule yet. It was that awkward phase where you exist inside a house but don't quite live in it. New neighborhood, new rules, and nothing familiar, not even the smell of the tap water. But the first thing I noticed about the place wasn't the creaky porch or the overgrown lawn. It was the sound. Every afternoon, around the same time, there was this rhythm coming through the side fence. A steady, calming splash. Water. Soft laughter. Sometimes music. And the occasional clink of glass. My neighbor had a pool. And from what I could hear but not see, it wasn't the kind with screaming kids and inflatables. No, this was something else. Quiet. Private. Like the kind of backyard you'd only see in a magazine. At first, I ignored it, kept my head down, unpacked a little. But on the third day, curiosity got the better of me. The white wooden fence that separated our yards had a crack near the far corner, just wide enough if you tilted your head right. I didn't mean to look. I just lingered. That's when I saw her. She was in the pool, floating lazily on her back, eyes closed, one arm drifting in the water like she had nowhere else in the world to be. Hair slicked back, skin shining in the sun, wearing a black bikini that made her look like she belonged in a perfume ad. She wasn't 20. She wasn't 30 either. Maybe late 30s? Maybe more. But she moved like someone who didn't care about the number. And then her eyes opened. She didn't flinch, didn't cover herself or act surprised. Instead, she looked right at the fence. At me. I froze. My heart jumped up into my throat. I backed away from the crack, tried to pretend I was doing something else. Tying my shoe, brushing something off my pants. Anything. Then her voice came, calm and clear, floating over the fence like a ripple. Don't just stand there. Come in. I blinked. Did she just say that? A moment later, I heard the soft creak of a gate opening. I turned and saw her, towel over one shoulder, water still dripping from her knees, holding the side gate open with one hand. Unless you're the shy type, she added, lips tilted in a half smile. I was just, I started. You were just standing there, watching, she said, not unkindly. It's fine. I prefer honesty. I could have walked away. Should have. But my feet didn't move. Something about the way she stood there, completely unbothered, like this wasn't the first time someone watched her from the other side of the fence, made it feel like I'd already agreed. My name's Elise, she said. You're the new one. I nodded. Yeah, just moved in Monday. You got a name? Or do I keep calling you fence guy? Jason. Jason, she repeated, tasting the word like she was filing it away. Well, Jason, I've got cold beer and too much sun. You want to come sit? I won't bite. I hesitated. She leaned on the gatepost, raised one brow. The sun was beating down, and I was already sweating. The sound of the water was magnetic. And then I stepped forward. One foot into her yard, then the other. The gate closed behind me with a soft metallic click. She didn't lock it, but the way she smiled, it felt like I just crossed a line I wouldn't be able to uncross. Elise led me across the yard like it was nothing. Like this was something she did all the time. Invite the neighbor boy over on a hot afternoon for no particular reason at all. Her towel swayed with each step, damp at the edges, leaving dark footprints on the concrete. The backyard was something out of a movie. Perfectly trimmed hedges, tall palms, a pair of lounge chairs under a white umbrella. The pool glimmered like glass, smooth except for where the sunlight broke into patterns across the rippling surface. Everything smelled like chlorine, citrus, and faint perfume. She walked to a small table near the edge and popped open a cooler. Beer or water? Water's fine, I said, though I probably looked like I needed both. She handed me a bottle, sat at the pool's edge, dipped both legs in. You don't swim? Not today, I said. Didn't exactly bring a suit. You're wearing shorts. Yeah, but you're already sweating. You might as well be wet. That made me laugh. Elise turned her head just slightly, catching the sound with a half smile. She looked at me differently than most people do when they've just met someone. Like I was already part of the scene she'd written in her head. You live alone? She asked. Yeah, just moved out on my own. She nodded slowly. Good feeling, isn't it? That silence when no one else is around. No questions. No judgment. I glanced at the sliding doors behind her. Your husband doesn't like swimming? He doesn't like heat, or neighbors, or talking, really? The way she said it didn't sound bitter, just factual. She leaned back on her hands and closed her eyes, letting the sun kiss her face, chest rising slowly as if the world had hit pause just for her. I tried not to stare, but she looked too composed, like someone used to being looked at. You can sit, you know, she said without opening her eyes. I don't bite. I sat, close but not too close. Do you always watch from the fence? She asked. My throat tightened. No, that was the first time. I didn't mean to. It's okay. Her voice dropped a note. It's nice to be seen sometimes. The sun crept lower in the sky. The concrete cooled beneath my legs. She reached for her towel and patted her collarbone dry, slow and absent-minded. Some people need to talk to feel seen, she said. Others just need an audience. Her hand brushed mine when she reached for her beer. Not forcefully, not by accident either. A few minutes passed in silence. She didn't fill them, didn't ask what I did or where I was from. She just existed and let me exist beside her. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. You met the neighbor yet? Be careful, that was it. Message cut off. I looked up. Elise was watching me. Everything okay? Yeah, just my mom. What did she say? I hesitated. She said to be careful. Elise smiled, slow and unreadable. Good advice. You should always be careful around strangers. She got up and walked to the far side of the pool, slowly descending the steps back into the water. When she turned, she called back to me, voice half lost in the sound of splashing. But you're not a stranger anymore, are you? I didn't answer. I just watched. And this time she didn't stop me. I told myself I'd only stay a few more minutes. Just enough to be polite, not rude. Long enough that I could say thank you and slip out the gate, back into the safety of my house where everything made sense. But Elise had a way of making everything stretch. She floated on her back again, arms out, eyes closed. The late sun dipped low behind her roofline, casting gold across the surface. The water shimmered, flickering across her skin. You're really not coming in? She asked without opening her eyes. I didn't bring anything to swim in, I said. Elise spun upright, feet touching the shallow bottom. You live next door. Go grab something. Or don't. You're already dressed like someone who could fall in and survive. I'd feel weird. Feeling weird is better than feeling nothing. She drifted closer to the edge, resting her arms on the warm tiles. Drops slid down her shoulders, glinting in the light. You know what I like about water? She asked. It doesn't care, doesn't judge. It doesn't ask why you're in it or what you're hiding from. It just takes you. I didn't respond. I just looked at her, trying not to let my thoughts spill onto my face. Take your shoes off, she said softly. And I did. I stepped to the edge, sat down, let my feet dangle in. The water curled around my ankles like it had been waiting. Elise moved beside me, Not touching, but close. I like when people watch, she said. It means they're honest. The dishonest ones pretend they don't. I swallowed hard. You always this direct with neighbors? Only the interesting ones. The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable. It was tight like a rope between us. Then she stood and walked through the water to the other side, where the pool skimmer was half lodged against the wall. She pulled it out, looked at it like it offended her, and called across. Want to help me clean this filter? Or do you just like supervising? I laughed nervously. You sure? You're already in my backyard, she said. Might as well earn your beer. I walked around, squatted beside the skimmer. She showed me how to twist the cap, how to reach inside and pull the filter basket up. It was warm, slick with leaves and old water. She leaned over my shoulder, too close, her voice just behind my ear. Careful, don't drop it. I hate reaching in too deep. I felt the breath in her words. When I turned, she didn't move. We were face to face, inches apart. Then she smiled and stepped back, shaking water from her hands. I exhaled like I'd been holding my breath the entire time. And just as I stood to put the filter back, we both froze. Sound. A crunch. Gravel. Behind the fence. Elisa's head snapped toward it. Her voice dropped low. Get down. I crouched instinctively, half hidden behind the wide pool chairs. Elise moved fast, quieter than I expected, grabbing her towel and sliding it over her shoulders like a robe. She glanced at me once and whispered, "Don't say anything." Then she walked calmly toward the back door. Through the slats of the chair, I saw a shadow move along the other side of the fence. A figure, male, broad-shouldered, paused near the gate. Then nothing. No knock, no voice, just presence. I stayed frozen, water dripping from my calves. After a few long seconds, Elise reappeared in the doorway, looking relaxed, hair damp but controlled, phone in hand. She didn't look at me as she answered it. "Hey," she said sweetly. "No, just out back. Cleaning. Pool's full of leaves again." A pause. "No, not a soul. Just me and the filter." Another pause. A soft laugh. "You coming by tonight?" I couldn't hear the response. Her expression didn't change. "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow then." She ended the call and slowly looked toward me. And then she smiled like the tension never happened. "Where were we?" she said. I didn't move at first. I just crouched there, dripping, staring at her like I wasn't sure which version of Elise I was looking at. The relaxed, teasing woman from the pool, or the one who just lied through her teeth with perfect calm. She stood by the sliding door, framed in soft indoor light, her towel still draped around her shoulders, barely hiding the curve of her back. The phone was gone. Her hand rested on the handle. She didn't open the door. "Come on," she said finally. "He's gone." I rose slowly, every nerve lit up like I'd touched a live wire. "Who was that?" She didn't answer until I was close. "You already know. Your husband." She tilted her head. Technically, the air felt heavier now, thicker. The chlorine, the sweat, the setting sun. All of it pressed against my skin. "You don't have to stay," she said, reading my hesitation. "But you're already here." I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if it was an invitation or a warning. But I sat back down at the edge of the pool. She joined me again, slower this time. Her feet slid into the water. She sighed like the tension had been pulled out of her with the breath. We didn't speak for a minute, just watched the fading light reflect across the surface. Then Elise said, "Do you know what silence means in a marriage?" I shook my head. "It's not peace," she said. "It's distance, dead air, like radio static. You pretend it's better than the noise, but really, It's just emptiness. She glanced over at me. You ever been with someone like that? I swallowed. Not really. You will. Something about the way she said it made my chest tighten. Like she wasn't guessing, like she knew. I used to swim alone every night, she said. That's how it started. I told myself it was about exercise, clearing my head. But it wasn't. It was about space, control, choosing where my body went, how it moved, what it touched. She ran her fingers through the water slowly, like she was painting a line across the surface. Then the fence went up, and the neighbors changed. And one day I saw someone watching. I looked at her. She was already looking at me. It wasn't you, she added. But it might as well have been. You like being watched? Elise smiled. Not flirty, not smug, just honest. Only if it's real. We sat like that until the light dimmed fully and the cicadas started their high buzzing rhythm. Then she stood. You should go. I blinked. Now? You don't want to be here if he comes back. I stood too, unsure what to say. Right? Of course. She didn't walk me to the gate. Didn't explain. Just turned and headed back inside. Halfway there, she paused. Looked over her shoulder. Next time, just knock. The gate wasn't locked, but it felt heavier when I pushed it open. The street beyond was quiet. My own house sat in its dim shadow, a rectangle of light spilling from the kitchen window. I didn't realize I was still barefoot until I stepped onto the gravel path and winced. I didn't see Elise the next day, or the one after. Her yard was quiet. The pool sat still, untouched. No music, no splashes, no beer bottles sweating in the sun. The gate stayed shut, her windows closed, curtains drawn. I told myself it didn't matter, that what happened was a fluke. A summer afternoon stretched out too long, a neighborly mistake warped by heat and loneliness. But it clung to me. Every time I passed the fence, I slowed down. I didn't mean to, it just happened. By day 5, I gave in. I didn't knock. I didn't peek. I just sat outside in one of my own folding chairs, cracked a bottle of water, and stared at the blank strip of white fence like it might blink first. And on day 6, it did. The gate opened slowly. Elise stepped out wearing a long shirt, sunglasses, and her hair twisted up. No towel, no wine glass, just her. She looked at me over the fence. I didn't stand. Hey, I said. Hey, she echoed quieter. Pool still full of leaves? Her mouth twitched into a tiny smile. You could say that. She leaned against the post, arms crossed, the slats of shadow painting lines down her legs. Why'd you invite me that day? I asked. Because you looked curious. That's all it takes? No, she said. But it's a start. Silence stretched between us again. It was different now. Not loaded. Not soft. Just real. I've been thinking about what you said. I added. About silence. About distance. Elise tilted her head slightly. I get it, I said. You float. You stop asking. You don't even notice when the water goes cold. A breeze kicked up, dry, heavy with dust. She looked away out toward the pool. He's not coming back this week. I didn't answer. She stepped back toward her yard. Slowly, deliberately, her fingers grazed the gate but didn't close it. Instead, she left it half open and went inside. I sat there for a while. The sun fell behind the rooftops. Crickets replaced the cicadas. Lights flickered on across the street. And still the gate stayed ajar. I didn't move until the last of the light drained from the sky. When I finally stood, I didn't go inside. I walked to the fence, to the gate. I touched it but didn't push. Then I saw something. A towel, folded over the pool chair. Red. Just like the one she used that first day. and resting on top of it, small, handwritten, careful block letters on a note card. Next time, just come in.